Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Day 4 of Royal Ascot in the company of Adam Mills, Andy Newton and George Gorman, 3 men who have been banging in the winners. Mike Cloud, a great winner for Adam Mills. Winners galore for Andy Newton, from what I can see, and taking on those horses with the lays of the day on X as well. And George Gorman, what a way to round off Day 2 at least, Havana Hurricane. It seemed like everything you tipped on Day 1 went in. Well done, my friend. Let's see if you can repeat the process for Day 4. The Albany Stakes. Signora is the favourite for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. As we record, they've been dominating the juvenile races with the exception of Havana Hurricane going and winning. The last 3 winners in this race all ran in the Nace Group 3, which Green Sense was second in and Signora was third. It was the Ballydoyle fillies debut. Aidan has won 2 of the last 3 runnings of this race. And is she just going to improve past Joseph's horse? And will that be enough to see her win this, Adam Mills?
I think she probably will improve past Green Sense. I thought the market was a little bit harsh to make Green Sense 3 times the behind. She was over a length in front of her, but I could certainly see the case for Signora, and you have to think the way Aidan's 2-year-old's been running so far that there's a very good chance that she's just better than these. Venetian Sun is the one I'd be against. I don't think the market, we're recording Wednesday night, I don't think the market has yet realised she's drawn in stall 1.
Yeah.
So if something drastic happens on Thursday, that looks like it's the wrong place to be on the track at this stage. But I do actually quite like the British form, and I think if Signora wins, so be it. But I think I'd rather go each way on the British horses. Definitely have a lot of respect for Fitzella. I thought this was a really good performance behind Military Code, but the problem is Military Code did absolutely nothing for that in the Coventry. The Haydock win was pretty good. She made all, had the fastest top speed. The third's won next time by 3 lengths at Windsor, so that form looks relatively solid. Probably going to have a little saver on Fitzella, but I think my main bet is going to be on good old Jamie Spencer and Richard Spencer.
Oi, oi.
Raja Singer won at Royal Ascot for Richard Spencer. Gold Digger's probably not quite in the same league, but Starman's done pretty well with his crop. And I just really liked the debut at Yarmouth. He had 3 next time out winners behind him. He was 4 lengths clear of the field with the top speed was 43.96 miles an hour. Now, Yarmouth is quicker. When you get a tailwind, it's even quicker, but that was still pretty fast. Final Furlong was 10.57, 10.4, 11.18, all of which were the fastest in the race. I think he's got loads of speed. He's quite well drawn, or she's quite well drawn, I should say. Jamie Spencer is going to be able to find a nice bit of cover and pounce with a bit of late speed. And I kind of thought 8-1 was pretty fair. And I'd rather take that each way. And if we bump into an O'Brien horse, so be it.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question, Andy. Is Aidan's obviously got this incredible record in this race recently. He's won 2 of the last 3. He's won more than that as well. The fact that the 3 winners of this race, including Porta Fortuna, have all come from the same race, the exact race that Signora has come from. And that Lady of Man form just looks really, really good as well. Obviously, True Love has bolted up in the Queen Mary, and she's got form that ties in there too. So there's a lot pointing towards this beautifully bred daughter of Frankel out of Hartech.
Yeah, and a fairly good draw as well, like you say, in 11. And like you say, he's mopping up these juvenile races at the moment, and it's already 3-1. Probably going to get a bit shorter as well, come the day. We're a couple of days out recording this, aren't we? Yeah, and the winner of that race, that Lady of Man, looks decent horse as well, doesn't it? So, as you say, that race has been a good guide, to finding the winner of this in previous years. So, I don't know, it's just a bit short. I mean, there is a bit of a crazy stat with like the foal month, yeah? And so 17 of the last 23 winners have been foaled in either February or March. And obviously as 2-year-olds, even a month or 2 apart can be a big thing, because it just means that some of them are a tiny bit older than the others. Yeah. And for whatever reason, it seems like the slightly younger ones. And when I was looking, Aidan's horse is an April foal, so he's slightly younger than some of the others running here. Gold Digger's an April one as well. Fitzella's March, and that Venetian Sun is February. But Venetian Sun was quite visually impressive, but I agree with Adam. I just think the draws, we can just kibosh that, really, isn't it? And put a line through that. Fitzella's been a bit of a sort of talking buzz horse, isn't it, in the build up to to the meeting. But I just sort of think, why is it still sort of 6-7-1? The form has been framed behind, have come out and won, but And the same as Adam, really. I think Gold Digger, even though it is an April foal, and that's sort of what goes against what I just said, drawn well. You know, that run at Yarmouth was very eye-taking. I don't think even Jamie even hit the horse, did it, with the whip, if you watch it back. And maybe once, if you know, out of sight. But it beat that Awaken, who it goes again. It was only, I don't know, like half a length or something, but could have been loads more than that. And, you know, Spencer's won this race, 4 times in the past as well. So, you know, he's due one. He hasn't had, I don't think, a winner yet this meeting as we're doing this. And then look at a big price, that Adrian Murray one, Ipanema Queen, does look a little bit overpriced. I mean, you know, that run last time at the Curragh, I mean, it beat 21 horses in that race. It's over 5.5 furlongs. Step Up will be fine. And I think it's been bought since that race, isn't it, by some kind of ammo
Stoner Street and ammo.
Yeah, combo.
Splashing the cash again.
Splashing the cash. But it won by 5 lengths or something, I think, or 5.5 lengths over 6 furlongs that day. So just think that might be a tad overpriced. But I'm with Adam with Gold Digger, I think.
Okay. George, for you, Donica's got a very interesting horse in the Porta Fortuna Silks, who was a good winner of her second start. Took a significant step forward after that form with Andab. What do you make of the race?
Well, it's interesting. I'm glad you left me to clean up, because I'm sort of with both of the boys here. Like Senora obviously makes a lot of appeal. Like, it's worth saying, when she split Lady Imam and Green Sense, Lady Imam was having her 3rd career start. Green Sense was having her 2nd. Interesting point. Her 2 siblings, Senora, Salt Lake City and Exactly, one by Galileo, and Exactly is a full sister by Frankel, have yet to win at below 7 furlongs. So that is like a little interesting, and maybe it's going to need further in time. And just at that price, it's enough for me to take her on. There are 5 horses in this field that have higher Racing Post ratings than her. Only 2 of them have run once, the same as her. One is the Richard Spencer horse you were just talking about, and the other is Ipanema Queen.
Yeah,
who was a 5.5 winner, 5.5 length winner on debut over this trip, which I said was enough to earn her the joint highest RPR in the field. The third, who was beaten 6 3/4 lengths, went on to be beaten a neck on her next start. And the fifth, who was beaten 8 1/4 lengths, finished 4th on his next start, but that was behind Warsaw in Kansas. Like, it was a good run. That was it. I think it was a huge debut, and any improvement you see her place at a massive price. And the other place I'm agreeing with the boys is Fitzella. Beaten a neck over 5 furlong racecourse debut by Military Code. I would have liked to have seen Military Code run a little better earlier in the week, but I think the way that stable's horses are running, I'm not going to take it as too much of a negative. She then proved that she stays this trip by making all over 6 at Haydock. And as the boys said, the third, Bella Lyra, who's beaten 3 3/4 lengths, won by 3 lengths at Windsor next time. And the fourth, Kilavia, who was beaten 7.5 lengths that day, was only beaten 3 1/4 lengths into second over 5 furlongs at Sandown next time. So I'm going to be, if I can get an each way price about Fitzella, that'd be fantastic. If I can't, I'll back her to win. But I'm definitely going to be backing Ipanema Queen each way.
What's an each way price for you?
Well, 7s.
Okay, I'm seeing 6s.
Get my money back.
You're just on the cusp of that.
Yeah.
I think she's very interesting, particularly with Oisin on board, obviously. The third horse has come out in one since, as I think you were pointing out. Yeah, she's very, very interesting for Hugo Palmer. I believe the connections are pretty better. And the Adrian Murray horse I thought was really intriguing as well. Obviously, David Egan riding with the Ammo connection. On a positive for Signora, she's by Frankel out of Heartache. Heartache won the Queen Mary Stakes. Frankel, a dual Royal Ascot winner. She's literally bred for the job. But I think that stat about the siblings not having won over less than 7 is an intriguing one. Speaking of that stable, do you still feel bullish about Shadow of Light at 7-4? Let's see. Commonwealth Cup. Red hot favourite. We've seen plenty of horses in a Sheeran advertise and Perfect Power be tried for the Guineas and then drop back in distance to go and win this race and outclass the opposition. That was what people were expecting. That's what I was expecting earlier in the week. I'm not so sure if I still do. 7-4 is the prices we're recording. Babouche For Ger Lyons and Common Keen, 4-1. John Quill's been well supported. Christoph Sumion will ride for Andrew Balding, 5-1. Ides of March and Whistle Jacket locked together at 9-1. All right, Adam Mills, who's going to take the Commonwealth Cup?
Oh, I still want to be with Shadow of Light. Or rather, I don't want to oppose Shadow of Light.
Do you?
Well, look, the yard form's a concern, and I know you don't like Godolphin. But
Whoa. Fake news. Russian disinformation. I have no problem with Godolphin. It's Charlie Appleby is the question.
I just, if you didn't see the colours and you looked at all the form, you'd think Shadow of Light's the best horse in this race by a mile.
Oh, yeah.
Everything he did last year was miles better than these. His run in the Guineas was fantastic. I mean, he's run faster sectionals than Field of Gold in the Guineas.
Yeah.
So this horse has clearly got bags of ability, clearly got bags of speed, drops back to 6, got the right draw. It's one of those ones that when he wins, we'll all go, oh, bloody hell, that was a gift of a price at 2s or whatever he goes off.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to be taking him on too much. I'm kind of against Whistle Jacket. Of the others, I mean, I think John Quill is the bigger danger. I think John Quill is a seriously talented horse, so I think he'll really enjoy going back to 6 furlongs. Because I don't like Whistle Jacket, I can't really like Babouche. As much as I think Babouche is a nice horse, I've never been sold on Whistle Jacket, so I'm kind of thinking that form might be a bit suspect. I'd be very tempted. What price was John Quill? Did you say 9s? Have we got?
Ooh, the bookmaker I'm looking at is not going 9s. Let me see. Hold up. Yeah. Wait a minute. 8-1 is the best price you can get.
Yeah, 8 will do with Mr. Sumion on board. I kind of feel like that's probably a decent bet. I'll be annoyed at myself. I'll have to play the straight forecast with Shadow of Light and a couple of these because there's just this sort of feeling that I've got that Shadow of Light might be miles better than these, and there's loads of options for him if he is. The French runner in here, Rayevka, fair play to Francois McGrath for having a go, but I just can't see it at all. Rayevka's a lovely filly, but the form to my eye isn't strong enough, and I think she needs to come through horses, and that's going to be very difficult in this field. So I'm quite happy to ignore that. And for me, I will play John Quill, but I still expect Shadow of Light to win. And I think Charlie Appleby will probably be punching the air when he crosses the line.
On time form, there's 9 horses who want to go forward. At least 9 horses who want to either make the running or be very, very prominent. It's now proper good to firm ground, Adam, isn't it? It's like when I was talking to some jockeys yesterday, they were saying, oh, no, it's good safe ground. It's now proper, actual good to firm ground.
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of races yesterday that were run at muddling pace, but today everything was well below expected time. So it got quicker today than it was yesterday. And if you look at the forecast, it's just going to get quicker and quicker and quicker.
Okay, so we have lightning fast ground, an insane pace on, for a horse who is a European champion juvenile, a dual Group 1 winner, dropping back in trip, and he got, even though he was given a balls of a ride, both of them were given a balls of a ride, actually, he still got close to Field of Gold. He just wins, doesn't he, Andy? Surely.
It should do, but it is just the slight drift at the moment. I mean, it was, 6-4 a few days ago. Now I'm seeing a bits of sort of 9-4, 5-2. And as you say, the Appleby camp are struggling a bit so far this week. We'll have to see what happens. They've got a few more, maybe tomorrow to sort of bounce back. But I don't know. Oh, look, it's an obvious one. It's top rated. The form of the Guineas and so on and so on. It's just it's the one to beat. Decent draw, blah blah blah. But the drift is the worry personally. So I can sort of. You can probably take a punt on something tiny bit bigger. We've had him with the Whistle Jacket thing, and I just wonder whether the decision for Ryan to ride that or Ides of March. I'm just wondering whether it was a bit of a tricky one because
I asked Aidan that, and Aidan instantly said, "Oh no, he'll ride the Heinz winner," which he meant he didn't win the Heinz, by the way. He meant the Phoenix Stakes winner. They obviously still felt like, damn it, you should have won that day. And he went, no, he'll ride Whistle Jacket.
Yeah, but it is a horse that I just don't think anyone sort of really got to grips with because it's shown glimmers of magic and then it just flops the next time and then it's beaten by Babouche and so on. So it could easily bounce back. I mean, it's the form is there, but I don't know. I just think I did read somewhere that Aidan did think that Ides of March would come on, for its first 2 runs, and just think that might be a little bit of value over the first sort of 2 or 3 in the betting. And I also think that Big Mojo could actually run a fairly big race. I mean, course and distance winner, won the trial. I know it's probably just, below Group 1 level, Big Mojo, but Holly Doyle takes over, and which would have been probably some kind of interesting conversation over Tom Marquand, because he has ridden it quite a few times in the past, but he's on Sky, what's he on? Sky Majesty, isn't he, for Haggis? So I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, she's riding it for the first time. We know it likes Ascot. Its form there is pretty rock solid. It's probably just below top level. But if you're going to get something like sort of 20-1 or that kind of price on it nicking a place, wouldn't rule it out personally. So I'd rather just have a little punt on those two, Ides and March and sort of Big Mojo, really. Just scared of the drift on the Shadow of Light, personally.
I thought Big Mojo was interesting, and they could have gone for the King's Stand. They've decided to go for this race instead. He's obviously a former Royal Ascot winner. My colleague Tony McCormick on Racing Live on TalkSport 2 sent me a WhatsApp this morning. Charlie Appleby had 4 winners at Royal Ascot in 2022: Caribus, Secret State, Noble Truth, and Naval Crown. Since that Royal Ascot in 2022, he has saddled 31 runners. Now, how many runners did he have today? 3, 4?
Cinderella.
It's at least 33 runners. Zilch since at 2 Royal Ascots. We're now into 2.5.
Maybe it's another Appleby that's going to win it then. Eh?
Good old Mick. On Mick L stock. So fast ground, fast pace, proper Group 1 form. Why does Shadow of Light not win this, George?
Well, look, like some of them are falling out the back of the TV, like Devil's Advocate, but I say Ruling Court ran below, but he ran fine.
Yeah.
Like Cinderella's Dream, maybe got beat by a better one. So if they're running below, they're running
talked up by me, by the way.
One.
I went with Falling Angel, but I was telling you all about the 25-1 Crimson Advocate. Oh, what a dum-dum I am.
George, I think we can agree that the Dante form is shit now.
Yeah.
Me and you
know what, as well, there's one later in the week as well. There's one later in the week.
We were giving it one more go, weren't we? And hands up.
That's gone.
But like notable speech ran into plenty of trouble. Like, it's not. If every single one of them was absolutely tailed off, it would take that to put me off this horse. I think it's so far the best horse in this race. They say European champion juvenile over sprint trips, and despite that, ran massive in the Guineas. I say if he didn't stay, I said on the Group 1 preview, Racing Post rating of 120 for a horse that didn't stay means he's an absolute monster. Babouche's chance is built on a 2 3/4 length defeat of Whistle Jacket. I wouldn't back Whistle Jacket for this if he was 20s. Do you know what I mean? And like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like Babouche beat Whistle Jacket 2 3/4 lengths last time. Means she beat him a little further than the season before. But like his RPRs this season with Whistle Jacket 113 and 108. It just suggests to me he hasn't trained on massively. Plus Shadow of Light beat him 4 lengths and then making his sweat. I can't not back like I'm already pot committed, so I won't say to listeners I'm not backing him again. I've already backed him. The adjustment I'm going to make is I'm still with Shadow of Light, but my main play in the race now is going to be Ides of March each way. Like he was a Group 3 winner at 2, ran reasonably in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. On the face of it, his 2 runs this season have been no better than decent, but his half a length defeat to Whistle Jacket on the seasonal debut can be marked up given the soft ground. Like that was his only start on soft ground, having been taken out of the middle part last year due to the ground on soft ground. Last time he was drawn on the opposite side to the winner, made a huge mid-race move to take up the lead, had nothing to run with, whereas the third horse carried the winner to the front. Ides of March couldn't even see them from where he was. And once he came over to join the third horse, he ran on well. I think he was the best horse in the race, and they gave the winner an RPR of 115 for that effort. So I have to believe Ides of March is capable of placing here. And if Shadow of Light blows out, he might win. This is one of a couple over. I'm with it exactly on there as well. So there's a couple of times where I'm banking on Ryan getting it wrong, but let's hope for the best anyway. But like I say, my main play now is going to be Ides of March each way, but my win bet will be on Shadow of Light. I'm not going to back him again.
Yeah. What do we think about the draw here? Just out of interest,
I think they're both drawn well.
What just
Ides of March in 22, Shadow of Light's in 19.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, all the big guns at the top of the market are drawn high. I mean, the only reason I say that is because when you look back at the last 10 winners,
1, 4, 1, 4, 3, 5, 8, 8.
And again, I don't know how many ran in some of those ones that were a low stall at 1, but that's 8 of the last 10 have been drawn 8 or lower. You've had a couple of winners from stall 1, couple of winners from stall 4.
Where are the stalls on Friday?
Centre.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting one because a lot of the big price ones are drawn low, and obviously a lot of those.
Are we saying the Harry Eustace horse out of 1? Time for sandals.
Well, I mean, I did look at that. I mean, he's rated 105.
Rated 100.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because the draw, it's just interesting that 8 of the last 10 have been drawn fairly low. But
I'll tell you, lads, Blake's horse is not out of this. She has a chance. She's got good form on synthetics. She likes a big field. She'll love a strong gallop. Joseph's horses are running brilliantly. She shouldn't get near the one. She shouldn't get near Shadow of Light, but the way this race is going to shape, she might.
If you were talking one drawn low, Sky Majesty drawn 6, rated 110.
Yeah.
Tony Bloom. If you were desperate to back one on each side, that would be the one I'd pick on the other side.
She dismissed Daylight, and Daylight was running against Whistle Jacket and Lake Victoria, and that was only Sky Majesty's third start. The problem with her is that she's only had one run since, and it was disappointing on the all-weather.
But and the horse that's Saida Darian that beat her that day actually went on. That ran all right. It was 2 lengths behind Symbol of Honour and a listed race next time.
Yeah,
it's not dreadful.
That was after 6 months off as well, wasn't it? So I know it was 5-4 favourite, but it's 3-3 on the turf, isn't it?
It's just a worry. That was all-weather finals day. She was not there. She was at Chelmsford. The Racing Post website is gone again here, by the way. This is hilarious. So it's all.
God, I'm gonna have to back this now, aren't I?
Yeah, it's all now memory, baby. But I like that horse an awful lot, and I know Haggis likes her as well. I thought Arizona Blaze was interesting. Drop back down to 6. I'm starting to think he might be more of a 5 furlong horse, but that form with Henri Matisse looks good, and he was
bags of pace.
Yeah, and I think that Haydock race wasn't run to plan. I selected Shadow of Light as part of my 10 bet 10 to follow. Jesus, what a disaster that's been so far. If you followed me in, hopefully something is fixed on Thursday, but maybe Shadow of Light wins. I would have no confidence at all. All right, final selections.
Shadow of Light.
I love it. Just the bravery. Just stick.
No, I just can't. I will have back Shadow of Light, and I'll have a saver on John Quill. Case Shadow of Light bombs out, but at what point do I think Shadow of Light? If I was thinking at the start of the week 6-4 was a good price. If it drifts out to we're getting close to 5-2. At what point do you start to think the trainer form is irrelevant? And the more Shadow of Light drifts, the more I'd be tempted to go in again.
For goodness sakes, it's second run of the season. He surely just wins. Hold your nerve. Hold your nerve.
First one at Ascot, if you want something else to cling to, if you're against it.
Hold your nerve. Hold your nerve. Hold the line. Wait till you see the whites of the bookie's eyes. Let him go 5-2 and then strike. Go on, Shadow of Light. Surely you win. All right, Andy, who's going to win?
I'll just have a little tentative each way on Holly's horse, Big Mojo. I think that's the option for me here, with Ides of March as similar sort of bet really, but those two against the main ones.
Okay, George.
Yeah, similar to what you're saying. Wait till you see the eyes in the book, whites of the bookie's eyes. Shadow of light. I will wait. If I'm going to back him again, it'd be if he goes on a big old drift, which he
Denise,
probably will.
super boost him to 5s. Go on.
Yeah. So if he goes, if there's a special offer or he goes substantially longer than he is now, I'll back him again. And with Ides of March again, I'll wait until the last minute because it takes time for the market to react to Ryan abandoning one. But my God, does it? Like, you've seen it exactly in January already. So I'll wait until the last possible minute to back Ides of March each way.
Okay, Duke of Edinburgh Stakes, the handicap 340 over a mile 4, Ethical Diamond for Ryan Moore and Willie Mullins is your 130 favourite. On a share for Carl Burke, Clifford Lee 7s, Hand to God, Harry Charlton, William Buick 7s, War Rooms for Colin Keane 15-2. Adam Mills, who do you like in the handicap?
This is particularly tricky. The one I really don't like is Ethical Diamond. I just that price is purely connections and nothing to do with what it's achieved. 12 starts this horse has had. It's only won twice. It won a Punchestown maiden hurdle in heavy ground and a Limerick maiden over 1 mile and 4. That to me is not enough to justify being this short for a big field Royal Ascot handicap. Now, look, maybe Willie Munn's had this as a plan for a long time. Maybe the horse is thrown in. He's certainly bred for it, but he's by Ortad. There's no guarantee necessarily that 1 mile 4 on good to firm is exactly what he wants. So I think this is a race I've got to take him on. I'm going to have 2 darts at this. The first is Al-Mashir, who, much like today's Royal Hunt Cup winner, could be the proverbial group horse masquerading in a handicap off a mark in the high 90s because it's won 3 of his 4 starts. We really don't know how good this horse is, but he did so many things wrong at York and still won. Stress-free's come out and won. There's lots of angles in with that. I can certainly see a case for Al-Mashir. But the one I really kind of think is just the complete wrong price is the one that Oisin Murphy rides called Siege of Troy. Now, Siege of Troy is a frustrating horse, and I know that because I keep backing him. And he doesn't keep letting me down, but I just think there's a big race in Siege of Troy. He's very capable, but he's start. That's the downside to him. And his opening furlongs on recent starts have been ranked 8th of 12 and 6th of 7. So he's almost certainly going to be towards the rear. But he's got a massive, great big stride. He finishes races quite well. His form at the Curragh behind the likes of Romzina and Trust Your Instinct is not that bad. He stays on at the finish. It's not easy on the round course here. It's going to take a lot of riding. But you're getting sort of 16-1 or bigger. That's quite a fair each way. And I'll play him and Al-Mashir against the field.
Okay, I like Al-Mashir, but it's only a small selection for me, Andy.
Yeah, I haven't got a massive sort of sway on this one either, to be honest with you. It's just one of those tricky races. I mean, apart from agreeing that Ethical Diamond is probably one worth taking on, with it's just going to be too short with, the connections and so on. And I just think that, the form there isn't really sort of stacking up for a 7-2 shot for me personally in a race like this. But Hand of God is a course winner, and that will, you can see that stepping forward on its run last time out. Same, but French Duke. I mean that was 6, I think, in the King George V era, but it's up £11. So been gelded 1 win in 6. But, the fast ground will be certainly in its favour. But look, we have got last year's winning stable in this race as well, with Gerard Keane, Colin Keane riding with War Rooms. First time cheap pieces on. Second this season twice with Gorham Park and Killarney. Used to be of Owen Burrows, obviously, and, has got Ascot form as well. It was 9th in the King Edward to Calandigan back in the day, and it was I think it was 3rd in the Dante last year to Economics. So does need to sort of bounce back a little bit from that, but they've been running it over 1 mile 6 this year, which is interesting, and it's not stayed because it's only just been chinned sort of a 3/4 of a length and a nose, but we know it stays further. I'm just wondering whether they use that to the advantage here. And 9-1. I'd much rather have a bit of that over Mr. Mullins.
He was beaten a long way, but it was by Ombudsman. That form worked out well. I've already got tweets going, has Los Angeles finished yet? Thanks very much. Yeah, thanks a lot. Oh, God.
Has who? What?
Has Los Angeles finished yet?
Oh, God. Your phone off.
Oh, my goodness. Why did you go that gallop? Why?
Look well in the paddock, though. Yeah.
Was he the pick in the paddock, was he? George Gorman, who's going to win the Duke of Edinburgh Stakes?
Yeah, look, the ethical diamond's just too short, isn't he? Like it's one of these things that I think some people sort of haven't latched onto yet. They'll go, well, he fought enough of it as a juvenile to run it in a couple of Group 1s. You went, yeah, because it was too late in the season for it to break its maiden.
Yeah.
It's the only reason. Then it turns up handicapping next year. And they go, well, he thought it was good enough to win the Group 1. It must be well handicapped now. And it clearly isn't. Everything we've seen has told us it isn't. It ran this race last year, pulled too hard, didn't get home, and it's another £2 higher this year, I think. I can't see why, it's another year older, it might relax better, but I can't see why it's going to drastically improve this time round. Just on what Adam was saying, I'm sure it might have been on ITV the other day. Johnny Murtagh said Siege of Troy is his best chance of the week, which is interesting. I know he doesn't have loads of fancied horses, but he does have the third favourite in the Edward VII. So that'd be interesting if you horse. For me, Hand of God is my main play. It's fairly obvious given he won the Golden Gates. He looked like he had plenty in hand when doing so. His only run since was on reappearance a month ago off £11 higher. It was clearly a sighter for this. Like, he was never better than mid-div all the way around. He looked like he was capable of winning with at least another 5 next year. Last year, sorry. So you're working with another £6 there. I think he's another year older. That's a few pounds. The trip can bring further improvement. That's another few pounds. Bear in mind, his brother won. He has a brother that won up to 1 mile 4, another one who won up to 2 mile. I think he should be able to negate that rise here. Again, it's used to it by now with me, but he's 8-1. You can back him each way and get your money back, can't you? Especially the number of places that'll be available. And a bit of a wild one. The more I look at it, the more I like, and it's a bit of a related contingency. Blue Lemons was beaten a net by Hand of God over a mile last April and reopposes off £10 better terms here. Ran poorly in the Britannia last year, but it was his first experience of a large field. His hurdles will probably have hardened him up a bit. And look, the Triumph and the punch-down version of the Triumph were probably a bit too much too soon over hurdles. But his maiden one was very impressive, and he got an RPR of 139 for his Grade 2 Fairyhouse win, which makes him look potentially well handicapped here, especially if improving for the trip, which I say, he's been running over hurdles. He's sort of been trained that way. I really like him at a price.
Okay. Blue Lemons with Billy Lucknan in the saddle is a 14-1 shot. For the big handicap, to the Coronation Stakes, shout out Aidan O'Brien, who came on the Final Furlong Podcast last week and gave us the exclusive that Ryan Moore would ride January. You could get her at 16-1. You could even get her at 20s. It's all gone. She is now 10-1 best as we're recording. Exactly has been pushed out to about the same price as bookmakers continue to try and get their heads around. Wait, why doesn't he want to ride the horse that pushed Zaragana? Zaragana has gone from being a very strong favourite, which is something Adam Mills was saying. Hold up, wait a minute. Why is this horse 6-4? The same price now the Falakea has been added to the lineup, and now they've both drifted out to 5-2. So in this clash, who's going to come on top, Adam?
Oh, I'm going to pass. I'm not going to do it. It's like looking at the wife's sister. This is, you shouldn't do it. It'll only burn you in the ass. I just can't take her on because I just think Zaragana's different gravy. I mean, now, we spoke last night and I was like, well, that price is wrong. But I don't really understand how Falakaya can be favourite when Zaragana has proven Group 1 form and Falakaya, and it just doesn't. So there's kind of that, but I've also got this real nagging. I did this race again last night. I'm not going to watch Zaragana because even on the replays, I find myself shouting, "Sort it out, Mickey." But, I know he gets there in the end, but is Contiki not being massively overlooked because it's trained by Jane Chapel-Hyam rather than Aidan O'Brien, and it done very little wrong. The form from York has been completely frank. That Troyer came out and won at long shot with ease. I don't know. There's a lot of dangers in here, and I started 2 weeks ago. I'd have thought Zaragana's the banker of the week. Nothing will beat her, and I think she'll definitely confirm the form. I don't buy that at all. and I'm quite happy with that. But I just think there's lots of dangers in here. There's also the Mickey Barcelona factor that, as we saw today on Asmarani, on a horse that's a dour stayer, what are you doing at the back of the field? And that's a kind of worry I've got with Zaragana, that even though she's well drawn and it should open up, don't leave it too late. And it'll annoy me even more if he's a fast finishing second, because he won't get it in the steward's room this time. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm sorry, I just can't. I think Zaragana's the best filly in the race. She's definitely achieved the most. She should be favourite. If she drifts to something stupid like 7-2 or bigger, then I'll probably go in again. But I'm quite happy just to leave this because I think there's dangers everywhere.
Well, if you put yourself in the shoes of an odds compiler for a second.
Yeah. I've done that. I've done my tissue if you want it.
Okay,
so
but just let me ask you. Yeah. So they're reacting to this, and they're reacting to the fact that she got beaten by Vertical Blue last year, which admittedly we've only seen that horse once, but she was lapped. She's then won the French 1,000 guineas in the steward's room. The horse she beat or gets the race from gets well beaten in the French Oaks as a non-stayer, and hopefully she can bounce back for Basher Watts. Exactly finishes fourth, and Ryan Moore does not want to ride her.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that. So Vertical Blue has not been right all season, and Francis Henri Graffard was on record as saying where they went to Germany purely and kind of will try and find a softer race to bring her back in, but she's not right, doesn't appear at the moment to have trained on. So I'm not too worried about that. I take your point about the French Guineas, but it was also a record time, and Zaragana was the only horse to really come out of the pack and chase them down. You know, Zaragana was the best horse in that race. I think we can all agree that. I don't really.
Oh yeah.
I felt the runner-up going to the French Oaks was more out of pride than actual thought that she was going to win the French Oaks. Mandanaba ran okay, so there's enough form lines there to think the French form is good, and the French fillies are exceptional this year. But I'm just kind of in my head, I'm thinking, because Zaragana's achieved quite a lot at the start of the season, and the other problem with Zaragana is the way she travels just lures you in. She's that kind of like strong travelling where you think, oh, God, this is a sexy filly. And then all of a sudden, there's always something where in the straight, I think, and she wins half a length. And that might be that she's just doing enough, or it might be that she's a bit quirky. And I respect Falakaya, but in my head, I thought 7-4 is just about right for Zaragana. 7-4, 2-1. Falakaya should be about 4s. But then the field should concertina behind that, really. Kontiki is unbeaten and done nothing wrong. And we don't know how good Kontiki is. And she's beaten a subsequent pattern winner in Troyer. So I don't know. I'm talking myself out of this. And when Zaragana wins by 4 lengths, I think, bollocks. Should have gone in. You knew it was a good thing, but I'm quite happy to let it run. I think there's better opportunities.
Well, I think the tip is there. And the tip is from Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Daughter of Kingman, out of I Can Fly, second in a QE2, placed in a Duke of Cambridge Stakes. Kingman obviously was a brilliant miler and a Royal Ascot winner as well. So she's bred for the job. Ryan Moore would rather ride her, and said Aidan told us on the Final Furlong podcast they were looking at the French Oaks for her. That's where she was going to go. And Ryan said, no, I want to ride her in the Coronation.
Is this the same Aidan O'Brien that told you that Los Angeles was top of the tree?
Touche, but it is also the same Aidan O'Brien who told us that True Love would be ideally suited to 5 furlongs, and that Stad was a very exciting 2-year-old. So,
yeah, no, fair enough.
But touche. Look, she has something to find, but these Aidan O'Brien fillies, once they start rolling, they keep on going. And he's won the Irish 1,000 guineas. He's won the Oaks with the first 2. I have no idea what's happened in the Ribblesdale yet. It may very well be that Life is Beautiful has bolted up in the Ribblesdale, in which case Falakaya and Kontiki all of a sudden look even stronger, Andy.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I mean, obviously Kontiki beat it by a length and a quarter at Kempton, and Falakaya was 3 1/4 lengths. So on that form, all right, one was over a mile, one was over a mile 2. Life is Beautiful. We have to see how it gets on in the Ribblesdale. So I think we did give it a fairly decent shout in that, up in trip and what have you. So we'll see. But what's the wife's sister like anyway, Adam?
Yeah, I should say I only make that joke because she doesn't have a sister.
Hey,
if she actually had a sister, you'd I'd be gelded. So we don't have a sister, so we're all right.
All right.
Joke safely.
All right. Fair.
My missus has 3 sisters, so I'm going to sit this one out.
Yeah, stay quiet, George. There's nothing to be gained, George. Even by making a joke, there's nothing to be gained and a lot to be lost.
But no, look, I just think that you sort of summed it up really with the Zaragana drift again. I mean, I know what you guys are saying about, if it drifts to, it carries on drifting. I'm sort of like, I'll be piling in more. I know I can sort of get what you're saying there. It's better value and this, that, and the other. But me personally, that's just alarm bells. When something, I know they do win occasionally when they do drift, but more so the alarm bells for me. And if that goes, threes. Considering it was 5-4 about 3 or 4 days ago, that is quite a significant drift. I know that the 2 others have been supplemented since, and that's one of the reasons. They're not mugs that have been supplemented. But I just think that there's more to come from Falakaya, the Owen Burrows horse. We know it stays further, and I'd much rather be with that one personally. I know it's got a bit of a step up to get to the Zaragana sort of level. But yeah, and as you say, Emmet, the whole January thing with Ryan is very interesting. I don't know when this is going out, but if it's going out, in terms of our video, if it's going out, so that is just going to get backed in, surely. But it's going to be a lot, shorter than 14-1. And whether people have picked up on it yet, I don't know, but maybe not. But look,
I think again, the odds compilers are genuinely confused by that. And they shouldn't be, because the info was out there from last week. I had a number of emails and DMs from people going, "Hang on, is he true?" I was like, the man said it. Aidan said it on the podcast. You can decide for yourself. Yeah.
You still want to see it. You still just don't. You want to get it confirmed, and now it's confirmed. I mean,
the price collapses.
Well, it should at least correct itself with exactly, shouldn't it? They should sort of at least flip flop round.
Yeah,
and then. It's just whether people think that January's form is good enough to beat the top 2 in the market, and probably not. But it's still going to attract a lot of people for the each way play. There's enough runners in there. But yeah,
well, I mean, I said on the Group 1 Royal Ascot special that exactly was one of the best each way bets I'd seen, but Falakaya wasn't in the field at the time.
Yeah.
And that was under the proviso that Ryan Moore was going to ride. But you could make the argument that that 10-1 about exactly is now very attractive. But actually, I think the fact that Ryan wants to ride January, that's telling you all you need to know. The other one I thought was very, very interesting is Shanti Lace. I mean, the very definition of unexposed. We've only seen her twice. Her second start was in the 1,000 guineas. She sent off a 25-1 shot. The vast majority of Rafe Beckett's horses are all improving significantly from their first to second starts. She gets within 2.5 lengths of Desert Flower, who finishes 3rd in an Oaks, and she's right alongside Lake Victoria, who goes on to win the 1,000 guineas in Ireland. That's a massive run.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree with that one as well. I had that sort of penciled in as a bit of an outsider as well, to be honest with you. Just you are taking a bit of a punt that it can take a bit of a step forward, but why can't it? It's only had 2 runs, and like I say, that guineas is there to be seen. So the worst 12-1 shots. Yeah,
I think I might very well go with her. George, your pick.
Yeah, the Falakaya forms, obviously we said worked out all right. We're talking about Life is Beautiful. The 3rd and 4th, Killing Queen and San Gazelle went on to be 1st and 3rd, split with Revoir splitting them in a listed race at Newbury. I think the 5th horse, was it Trad Jazz, beaten 13 lengths. It was actually only beaten 2.5 lengths in the Higher Fashion Stakes, a listed event at Goodwood next time. So the form does stand up, but you're being asked to take 5-2 about a listed winner in a Group 1. It's just I just can't let myself do it. If it goes and does it, then fair enough. What a horse. Kontiki, same boat, listed winner in a Group 1. You're being asked to take 7-1. Again, maybe it should be close to Falakaya's price, and it's just the connections. But I sort of gave it away fairly early for this one. I think Ryan Moore is wrong, so I'm probably completely wrong. Exactly shaped really well in the French Guineas. Ryan was pushing on hands and heels, turning in, which he always does. But he never goes for a stick until Zaragana is past his girths, about the 2-pole. From there, she's carried across the track every bit as much as the winner is. Probably only a net down before nearly running into the back of She's Perfect and had to be snatched up. Ryan had just used his stick for the third time. She had no time to respond for it. He used it twice and she had time to respond to that. I just think she finishes within half a length of Zaragana that day with a clear run. And so at a price, I'm going to wait until right up until the off because Ryan's abandoned her, so she keep getting bigger and bigger. I think you've got to back her each way. The only caveat to that is that Zaragana might improve past her because she was only having her 5th career start that day. Exactly, was having her 9th.
Yeah.
But the form's in the book. And I can't ignore the forms in the book. I'd rather back a horse like that I've seen do it. I've seen what should have happened last time. And rather than taking a punt that some listed winner is going to suddenly improve £10.
Which is
with Shanti. Oh, sorry.
Go on.
I was just going to go through Shanti Lace. Is obviously a very attractive prospect. Like finished 5th, beating length with half the guineas on just a second start. But it's the form of 1,000 guineas, absolute dirt. like the horse, the side like an absolute drain at Epsom. Like his flight ran an absolute stinker in Ireland the next time. I don't know what that form's worth. I'm split between two here at really big prices. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to back exactly each way. I might have 2 small place-only plays given the shape of the race. Sir Scene has only ever ran badly once in the Staffordstown Stud Stakes, and that was when she encountered soft ground for the first time. A reappearance effort in the Priory Bell. She finished 3rd, beaten half a length behind exactly, and a length and 3/4 behind Swelter. Her run the Irish Guineas is a big step in the right direction. She ran on well. She was 4 lengths 3rd behind Lake Victoria. She beat Flight that day. And I don't know, has the market corrected yet? No, she's still a bigger price just about than Flight for whatever reason. Really interesting thing, she pulled quite hard that day and she'll get a better pace to run at here, which should help her settle. But she beat At Sailor 5.5 lengths in the Irish Guineas, having been beaten half a length by her over course and distance 20 days earlier. Improving fast, and she's a place-only bet for me because at the top of the market, there are some very good horses. And the other one at a mental price for place-only is Cathedral. She split Merrily and Flight in the Oh So Sharp on just her second start. Merrily was having her 6th start. Flight was having her 5th. And obviously, Flight would go on to finish 2nd in the Guineas, whatever that's worth. She was beaten favourite on her reappearance when she was 4th by 2 lengths in Group 3 company at Lingfield. But the second horse was Jabara, who won a listed race at Musselburgh on her next start. The third horse was Spiritual, who won a Epsom Group 3 4 3/4 lengths on her next start. The only other horse to run in the race to run since was the 6th and last horse, Fair Angelica, who won a listed race at Salisbury at 11-1 next time. She's untried beyond 7 furlongs, but she's brother to a mile winner called Tolstoy. And obviously 2 darn hot can produce black type mile 2 horses like Lava Stream and Devil's Advocate, who we'd rather not talk about today. But I think that's a real solid pair of place only bets to go along with exactly. I don't like having 3 bets, but I think Cersei has a real good chance of running into the 3. I think she's solid. I think exactly can't be out the 3. Cathedral's too big a price for me to not have some sort of an interest place only. So those are my 3 in a not many runner race.
That is, for all that you were going for 3 horses in a Group 1, that is still excellent analysis there, George. Audience participation time. Who do you think is the horse that has the highest speed figure from Proform and the highest overall rating from Proform?
Well, the fact you're asking it,
it's not what you think.
It's not going to be the French horse.
Gold speed figure, highest overall rating. It's not always the case that the highest rating and the highest speed figure goes to the same horse. Anybody have a guess?
Flight. Punt. Just
Adam?
No, I don't. I don't like the way that any of rate French racing, so I'm not going to stand.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not entirely certain that
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I swear I didn't look it up. I saw the top speed in the RPR and thought it was likely.
Yeah.
What was interesting, George, when you were talking, the odds literally flipped on January and exactly on the site I'm looking at, Racing Post. So I don't know whether they did for you. So in January, now showing 8-1, and exactly is now 11s or so. But yeah,
So here's what I would say about that. If Ryan Moore is choosing January over a horse that has the top rating and the top speed figure, and the quote from Aidan O'Brien was, "She has come forward brilliantly." I think I might have paraphrased brilliantly there. She has come forward massively from the Irish 1,000 guineas, and you can basically ignore the fillies mile. And the Irish 1,000 guineas was just to get her ready.
Is it not because he's ridden against Zaragana and he's got the view that if Zaragana gets a better run, she beats exactly, so I'll try something else?
Possibly, or that could be it, or January has just turned inside out and is the better horse. I'm going to side with January. I'm going to follow them in. Each way. It's an each way pick. I like Chantilly, so if she goes and wins, I'll be very depressed on air. 5 o'clock, Sandringham Stakes. We're back into handicap company. We've got Supermodel for Haggis and Mark Wand. Sweet Chariot for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore is a 9-1 shot. To Beat Thee for Colin Keane and Rafe Beckett, 9s. Dash of Azure for Tony Bloom, Rafe Beckett, Richard Kingscote, 10-1. Who tickles your fancy? Adam Mills. Why did I phrase it like that?
Well, I wonder where this podcast was going there for a minute. No, I mean, there's a few angles. I'll put my OnlyFans in the comments, isn't it? The first one, the first that I kind of like in this race, I want to have sort of a couple of swings because there is always a chance that by the time we get to Friday afternoon, the draw bias has flipped round.
Yeah.
And if I go steaming into anything in high numbers and we get there and you need stalled 1, 2, and 3, you'd have to be with it. I definitely respect Supermodel, completely unexposed. I thought that run back from a break was quite noticeable at Nottingham. Joe Mason rode a bit slow away, got back into position, got the gap at the right time, but finished it really strongly. Gone up £7, but it also felt to me that Nottingham was kind of, let's make sure that we get this win and we get in. But they've done that, certainly got in. Drawn stall 3, who knows what that's worth, but Tom Marquand takes over William Haggis. One of a number for this owner with a good chance. I also like Zagata. I think that's quite interesting.
Yes.
Finishes the races really well. Broke a maiden tag at Newmarket. Really, really quick final furlongs. Closed down the leader and made all the running. 3rd and 4th for one since. That's me kind of hedging my bets in terms of I've got one on the low numbers, one on the high numbers. But we've got a big field. So the other one that's kind of interesting is a horse called Betty Clover for Eve Johnson-Horton. She ran in a race at Chantilly called the Prix de Sandringham. Finished 3rd behind good speed. Is that form good enough to come and win here? I'm not so sure. But I do think there's a nice each-way angle with this horse. She's very consistent. Wasn't disgraced when 4th in the Fred Darling behind Duty First. Now, we can pull that form apart, but the race was really run to suit those that went prominently. Beaten the neck by Simmering in the Princess Margaret Stakes at Ascot back in July, so we know she handles the course. The obvious concern is she's had 10 starts, and she's only won 2 of them, and they were right back at the start of last season as a juvenile when she won the Marygate. But I still think there's a bit of room for her to run a big race. It would probably be one of those bets. If I was going to have a tenner, I'd be looking at £8 on the place 4 or 5 market and a couple of quid on the win, because I think there's a high chance that there's a lot of horses in here with far more in hand than she has off a mark of 100, but she will run a race. It's pretty consistent, and I think she'll hit the frame. But my main 2 plays will be Supermodel from the low draws and Zagata from the high draws.
Yeah, Zagartha is the one I'm all over. She was beaten by Victory Queen at Newmarket. Victory Queen has gone on to win again since. She then beats Perla, Silent Love, and Understudy. Understudy is going to go for the Ribblesdale after bolting up on her next start by 4 lengths. And Silent Love was back in the winner's enclosure. Or was in the winner's enclosure, I should say, only last week for Godolphin. So the form has been franked. She'll love the fast pace. There's an awful lot to like about Zagartha. I'm pretty strong on her. Andy?
Yeah, I like that one as well, mate, to be honest with you. So we are in the sort of...
Fist bump, Andy. Fist bump, baby. 14s. 14s for the 3 boys. George, are you on this horse as well? Can we just cut to the chase? Are you on this horse too?
No.
Ah, for goodness sakes. That was going to be an epic. Oh, we'll end the show there. Nap of the day. All right.
14-1 as well. O'Brien's never won this either, and he's got one Sweet Chariot. This is one of his, it was 13 races, but he won the Queen Mary today, so he's now only got 12 races left of the Royal Ascot bunch to get on his CV. So, but this is one of them. He's never won this one, so he might put that right. With
Has he updated his LinkedIn? Winner of the Queen Mary Stakes.
New achievement unlocked.
Two more group races to go. He's got, and that's it. He's done all the group races. But yeah, the other point about Betty Clover as well was obviously it was a nose. I mean, when you watch that race back when it lost at Goodwood and it was a nose second. I mean, I don't even know how it lost that. I think I'll put it up on the podcast that week.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
it was quite a good price. It was 14-1. And I literally watched the race. I think I was at my football club. I watched the race and I went, yeah, just had the winner there. And then walked out to watch one of the games, came back, looked at my phone, and if I can come second. So how's that happened? Right? But anyway, the form of that has been, franked since, but, today even by, Crimson Advocate winning the Duke of Cambridge. So, the form is there for everyone to see. And it ran all right in France next time out. Draws okay in 23. And yeah, like you said, Emmett, that Holly's horse, that's up to Garter. The form's been franked all over the shop. With Silent Love winning at Kempton, and the understudy that runs all right in the Riversdale for Gosden, and then that will certainly get shorter as well. So yeah, Baldwin had a winner today, didn't he? I think so. He's on the score sheet. So yeah, Betty Clover and Zagata, I think.
I'm very, very bullish about that Sigartha. George, who do you fancy then to spoil the party?
Yeah, my little bit of concern with old Betty Clover would be that she's probably she's improved as the season's gone on. Because you look at I don't know how much store you can take by beating Crimson Advocate by a nose. Given the race before, Crimson Advocate was beaten a nose by Soprano, who she's beaten about 9-10 lengths today. I don't know how literally we can take that. But for me, this was an absolute pick of a race to do because I had 7 on the shortlist and 6 got in. So I give you the full run for everyone. It was Supermodel, Dash of Azure, Silver Ghost, Oolong Pubong, Sarastelka, and Riker. So everyone can know that I've talked myself out of a winner now when one of the ones I'm not going to tip up goes in. I was with Silver Ghost. I think it was a race we were going to cover on the podcast and then decided not to. And buddy, I had it tipped up and ended up not get. Obviously, we decided not to cover it.
11-1.
Yeah. Very impressive on her last 2 starts, and obviously been trained to come on massively with each start. The RPR has increased by £14 and £8 from run to run this season. 2.5 lengths really doesn't do justice to just how easily she won there at Goodwood. And sorry, I was just checking. But that's reflected in her £8 rise. So she won't need to improve the step up to a mile. Given she's got 2 siblings who are winners over a mile and one who's black type placed at a mile 1, this trip should suit. Plus the fact she's been trained by a predominantly jumps-based trainer should probably help with the stamina side of it. There's probably too big a price here, probably based off connections. Then we've got... Sorry, I'm playing catch up here. The internet's been fairly slow. Riker is lightly raced, only 4 career starts. She had 2 heavy defeats on soft and heavy ground, sandwiched between a Thirst Novice win on Good to Firm and most recently a handicap win at Newmarket on Good to Firm. That was her first try at a mile that day and a career best by some way on her seasonal reappearance. It's just a sign of better to come. She's well drawn in theory at the moment. And I'd expect her to take more of a step forward than the £5 rise that she's got for a trainer that's a handicap genius. And I do have a contingency selection should by then. Drawn on the other side of the track, there's Arabian Leopard. who she did try a mile on just her third start on standard to slow at Kempton. She finished third, but didn't appear to last home. I think it might have come early enough in her development. Like this season on the turf, she's been very consistent over 7 furlongs with a good firm win at Newmarket 2 starts ago being the highlight. She went up £6 for that. Next time, she was outpaced at Haydock before running on again late on to be beaten 2 lengths by Oolong Pubong, who she's £5 better off with here. Being by Gayef and given her Frankel and Massar half-siblings were both best at a mile, I do expect her to improve again here. Just the fact that she didn't get home the first time she tried a mile, she's got to be on breeding. She's got to be at least a miler. But I just think the way she stayed on the last day, I think she'll get home here. Like I said, but that's more if we're starting to favour low draws by that end of the week. That would go in as my selection over Riker. But the main 2 I'm working with at the moment are Silver Ghost and Riker.
Right about the sire, wrong about the horse. Sigartha.
Yeah.
Absolutely love this being by Rayath. Okay, the King Edward VII Stakes, the Group 2 over a mile 4, 5:35. It's a race that Aidan O'Brien's got a very good record in. He's got Puppet Master, but he is not favourite. The Lingfield Derby winner is 7-2, second favourite behind Amalok for Rafe Beckett and Ross Orion, who is your 7-4 market leader, unbeaten in 4 starts. Rafe Beckett has yet to win a group race at Royal Ascot. Is this horse going to put that right for him, Adam?
Certainly one of the best chances that he's had. It's very difficult to be a 3-year-old gelding, as we've said many times in this podcast. But it's, I think Flanagan won this last year. I don't think Amalok's quite in that league yet, but he's 4 from 4. The way he won at Goodwood was pretty impressive. If we assume that they could have celebrated his tackle back on, where would he have finished in the Derby? He wouldn't have won the Derby, but I think you probably think he finished maybe 5th or 6th with the style he runs and the way he finishes his races. It's very hard to oppose him. I totally respect Puppet Master. I think he's got the form. I just worried that Lingfield Derby trial. I know there was a lot of controversy about the way the runner-up was ridden, but I watched it back today and I'm sort of thinking, like, has he won? Is the second a bit ungenuine? Is there kind of a bally or pecking order? I don't know. I certainly respect Puppet Master. I like Johnny Murtagh's horse, but I think Zoran kind of strikes me that he might want even further. I know he's by Night of Thunder, but it just looks to me like a sort of typical Aga Khan sort of real Dow Stayer. So, and then this race isn't that deep because the 4 favourite is Wimbledon Hawkeye. We know exactly where he is. I mean, I couldn't even believe Nightwalker had finished the Derby, and here he is running in this race. So it's sort of like there's not that much depth to it. The one that's the wrong price is Convergent.
Yes.
Convergent was 2 lengths behind the Derby first and second, and he's like a double figure price.
He's 12-1.
Really get that. I think Convergent will come in a little bit because I think when people actually sit down on Thursday night and start studying this form, they'll think he's a bigger price because of the form. But having said that, yes, he was behind Lambourne and Lazy Griff. But unfortunately for him, the horse behind him was Pinhole, who didn't really do a great deal. So It's hard to be sure. I don't really want to oppose Amalok. I suspect Amalok is a Group 1 performer. And at the moment, he's stuck running in Group 2 races because he's a gelding and he's got to wait till later in the season. But I don't particularly want to, but I might have a small saver on Convergent because I think he's being underestimated.
Yeah, my instinct was to go, Convergent's actually going to run. I thought they were going to go for the German Derby. Why is he 12-1? He's obviously the pick. And then I kind of keep coming back to Puppet Master a little bit as well. They intentionally missed Epsom with him. They could have gone to Epsom with him. They intentionally kept him back for this race. Now, the only slight caveat I'd give you is, Jesus, Shackleton really is slow. And he was pretty damn slow in that Queen's Pass. But I like him. I like Puppet Master an awful lot. And he's obviously, the form from the Ballysack Stakes is red hot, Andy. So, look, I like Puppet Master. I'm probably going to go with him. 7-2 is a bigger price than I thought I was going to get. So I'm happy enough to take that. But Convergent is too big at 12. So that's way too big.
Yeah, it'll probably come in, like you say, once people sort of, like Adam said, delve into the Chester form and see the horses that finished ahead of it, then that 12 will probably be long gone. But still not quite convinced, like Adam, with the Derby trial at Lingfield form, if I'm honest with you. I mean, look, that stayed true. We don't know. It might turn out to be a bit better than we think, and then all of a sudden that form's actually all right. But I don't know. It's just questionable for me. I know Aidan's got a fairly good record in this, and he's won 2 of the last 5, 3 in total. Wimbledon Hawkeye, you probably have to, question whether it's going to get home over the trip. And Johnny Murtaugh's horse. I mean, God, that come from the clouds last time, didn't it? And probably wants further, but Ascot will suit, and that will certainly be running on at the end. But so would a favourite, I think. Amalok. I mean, the way that won last time out at Goodwood was like beating its stablemate. That's Dinadan. Super impressive. And in a race that you can sort of pick holes in, most of them sort of in and around him in the betting. I just think Amalok's the way. I mean, Beckett's never won this, so I think he's going to take this. And by postponed. One, what's that? What, four Group 1s? I think postponed one. So the breeding's there, up in trip slightly. Just Amalok all the way through me. But I do fear the Murtagh horse, only because we know it's going to stay. And I think, but I'm just basically ruling out Puppet Master, if I'm honest, and then going from there. But I know you like Puppet Master, and I hope it wins for you. But I'm not sure about a Lingfield form, if I'm honest.
He'll love the ground, and they've pulled clear of the rest at Lingfield. He'll be fine, and he'll improve as well. George?
Yeah, look, on the bare form, Amalok can't get beat. He's second best on ratings. He achieved that rating in just 4 starts, in which he's unbeaten. He's been more impressive with each run. He showed an improvement of £17, £13, £7 on RPRs, culminating in a 4-length victory when he stepped up to a mile 3 in the Cocked Hat Stakes. He's improving sharply enough that he doesn't need the extra furlong to improve him at all. But he's a half-brother to Brimham Rocks, who improved from an official rating of 62 to 101 as a 3-year-old for this trainer before being sold to Australia, before he placed at Group 1 level and won 2 Group 3s over this trip. The only thing that's a slight concern to me that was flagged up was that some of and it seems really in and out, because he did have a winner yesterday at Southall. He had a winner the day before at, Chepstow. He had a winner on Friday at York. But look at today, like Kirat, been there, done it before at Ascot, finished 27th. Pinhole was 4-1 joint favourite, finished 8th. Society Kiss didn't go a yard, did well to finish 12th in the Queen Mary. Even going back some of them, where was it? He had at Windsor on Monday, he had 100 to 30 favourite, beating 17.5 lengths. Like
it's 5 from 44. I think.
Yeah, like the runners to form isn't that bad, because some of them are running really well and some of them just aren't performing at all. I don't know if they're in 2 different yards or I don't know, but it's probably enough to put me off getting involved at 15 to 8. If he was any bigger, if I get 5 to 2, maybe I'll get involved, but I can't see that really happening. Like he was my selection for this race. I'm just think he's short enough now. The one that is perhaps more solid as an each-way option at the current prices of Wimbledon Hawkeye. He's above Amalok, although he's had more runs to do it. Look, he's a Royal Lodge winner in his own right, but his second in the Craven Fields of Gold is undoubtedly a standout bit of form at this point. In group company, he's won once, placed 4 times and been unplaced once. To me, that shows fairly consistent, but the fact they're reaching first-time cheap pieces here would suggest that they believe he was capable of winning a few of those ones he was placed in. His third in the Dante, again, you can sort of rubbish if you want with form. And his second in the Acom prove, again, you could rubbish with Lion in Winter. But it does prove he handles this sort of ground, because both run on good to firm. His Dams by See the Stars, which gives you plenty of hope that this trip will suit. And she herself was a winner at mile 2. She was only tried over further in listed company and she just wasn't up to listed level, so she may well have got further. We'll never find out. But I think he might be the solid get your money back option, like small profit option each way at 17 to 2 at the minute. But like I said, if Amalok were to hit 5 to 2, I would get involved.
Okay, the final race of the day is a target for Realign, who could have gone for the Commonwealth Cup. It's the Palace of Holyrood Stakes. How far does Realign win by for Wathnan, Adam?
Yeah, maybe it's just bloody obvious. This is horrible sort of getting out of jail stakes. If you've had a bad day on Friday, best thing to do is to put the phone down and come back on Saturday morning, I think. But Realign is the obvious one. It's almost like they've just worked out this is a speed horse. Well over 40 miles an hour at Salisbury. He was the fastest horse in 4 of the 6 furlongs, won by 5 lengths. I mean, you can just back Wathnan racing horses blind each way at Ascot and you make a profit. There's no we all make a joke about they're playing Football Manager and they're spending loads of money, which they are, but they don't get it wrong.
Yeah.
They buy a lot of very good horses. You even look today, they had a horse running the Queen Mary today that was 125 to 1 at the off, got beat at Lingfield at a short price and still finished 6th. So there's a really good eye behind all their judgment, and Realign does look the obvious one. There's always that slight risk being drawn 9 that the horse is on the wrong side or that the pace is in the wrong place. But I think he's got loads of quality. And if he gets a fair, he's going to be very hard to beat. The other one I quite like is Hammer the Hammer, who has won his last 3, won over 6 furlongs at Chester when he overcame a wide draw, really good speed from the gate. He kicked again, which I really like, horses that can quicken twice over sprint trips. So that's interesting now that the handicap has mullered him. And it's going to be very hard for Mark 100, but he's drawn well. I think he'll run his race. But it just, to me, I think this is obvious. I think Realign wins. And then I'm just sort of playing for places. Hammer the Hammer could run his race. The other one that I kind of like at a bigger price is Miss Lamai for Carl Burke. The issue with Miss Lamai is that she does have this kind of tendency to get outpaced and then stay on. But if Clifford Lee could keep her in touch, she might run on. But right now, what we're getting sort of 4s or so for Realign. I think whatever bet I have, I'll have to make sure that I'm covering the stake with the chance that Realign could have a stone in hand.
How far does Realign win by, Andy?
Miles. Absolute. I hope. No, look. If anyone was listening to the Group 1 we did, I sort of put this up as a bit in the Commonwealth, and it was about 25 to 1 at that point, and I still think it had a bit of a squeak in that, to be fair. They've obviously gone for a slightly easier option here, but look, the form's all, as I pointed out then, it came second to Shadow of Light on debut. It was third in that Decent York maiden, where there's been a stack of winners come out of it, Shah, Bowen Island, Spirit of Summer, and so on. It was 5th in that, I think, or something, wasn't it? And that ran obviously second in the Oaks. So it came back and absolutely died up at Salisbury. Yes, it was 1 to 3, but it's just there. It's by Blue Point, 2 times Royal Ascot winner. It's just there for everyone to see. I mean, I'm surprised it's still 4 to 1, if I'm honest with you.
So am I.
Yeah, and it's I don't know. We have to give a mention to Stormy Impact only because me and George found that one on Derby Day in the 3-year-old dash, and it got absolutely smashed up from 25s into 7s. And when these sprinters are in form, as we know, then it's worth sticking with. I mean, that one, I know it's slowly away and a bit of doing that, but that should be okay here at Ascot, and wouldn't be surprised if that runs okay. It's up only £5. Warren Fenterman's making a name for himself. He was on it last day, on it again. So, the £5 rise is still there, but it's Realign beats Stormy Impact for me.
George, how far does Realign win by?
Yeah, the case is very obvious to make. While Andy was talking about him the other day on the Group 1 preview, I just kept looking at the form. I kept going, how have they given this 92? So I went into work the next day and said to Jamie Moore, I was like, what? I read out his form figures. He had beaten 4 lengths by Angelo Buonarroti, 2 lengths by Shadow of Light, then won a Salisbury maiden by 5 lengths. What mark would you give it? And I think the answers were all over 100, and this horse is off 92.
It's crazy.
The only thing is short enough for me, and those first 2 races, he did hang markedly left under pressure. He didn't at Salisbury, but there was nothing that was good enough to go with him and put him under pressure. And just at 4-1, a race of this nature, it's just enough for me to leave him. I've got a couple of goes on this. Red Orange, like if you were doing any sort of form study for the 3-year-old dash and the regular dash, you couldn't help but keep coming back to this Red Orange because his form is tied in with everything. He was a winner on Good to Firm over 6 furlongs as a 2-year-old. Ran to an RPR of 85 that day. But he's thrived for the drop back to 5 furlongs this season with a third and a win, recording RPRs of 92 and 98. So miles ahead of what he was doing last year. In his win at Chester, he defeated subsequent winner and then Epsom Dash third, Ruby's Prophet, as well as the Epsom Dash fourth, Blinky, with Absolute Disdain. He's a very fast starter, which will stand him in real good stead in a race of this nature compared to a horse like Stormy Impact, who I worry a little bit about in this race if he's slowly away. He's £3 worse off of Ruby's Prophet here, but he's been kept a lot fresher than that horse. And I think he's capable of another big step forward off a £9 higher mark. The other main player is Lexington Blitz, who was second in the 3-year-old dash. He was a winner on Good Firm at Windsor. Ran a career best to finish second in the dash. Recording an RPR of 94 last time out on his second start of the season. I thought to go up £1 for that seemed very lenient. Like given he ran to an £8 higher RPR than his novice win at Chepstow as a 2-year-old, and his starting mark of 88 must have been based off that win. If you understand me, like his mark of 88 was based off running to an RPR of an RPR £8 lower than what he achieved last time, and yet that £1 rise brings him back up to 88. He's £4 better off with the winner of the dash, and I just think he might be a bit of a handicap blot here. I'd have put him up 4 or 5 for that the last day. I can't really understand it. And there's one, it's a reserve, might not get in, but very briefly, Gold Star Hero was only 3/4 of a length behind Lexington Blitz and a length and 3/4 behind Ruby's Prophet at Epsom. Reopposes on £1 and £5 better terms. Improved massively through his 2-year-old season. Ran to an RPR of 64 on debut and won a novice running. Finished up being beaten 3.5 lengths behind Star of Memas, that's now rated 95 in their listed event. Ran to an RPR of 90 that day. This time around, he ran poorly on debut, and then the dash ran to a career best matching RPR of 90 in the dash. I think better could be expected here. And again, sometimes it helps to have horses sort of all across the track. Gold Star Hero's 10, Red Orange is 4, and Lexington Blitz is 2. So you got a bit of a spread there. But like I said, it might not get in the reserve there. I think second reserve. So, but yeah, the main ones be Red Orange and Lexington Blitz.
Best bets for day 4 of Royal Ascot. Adam Mills.
Best bet would be Amalok to win the King Edward VII.
Andy.
Realign the final race with Amalok next best.
George Gorman.
Exactly each way. And Ides of March is next best each way. It's that kind of a day, I'm afraid.
Wayne Lorden for the outsider second string Ballydoyle double.
Each way, Wayne
Exactly.
Lorden.
Yeah.
That'll pay a lot. Zagartha, Holydoyle at Royal Ascot, Magic, Puppet Master, Realign, January, surely on a fast track with fast pace, Shadow of Light wins. That's the lucky 31. Surely he does. Oh my God, if that horse gets beaten. Said bin Saror back to number 1 trainer if that fella gets beaten. Right, that's it. We're back for Saturday. We'll be live on TalkSport 2 for every single race on the final day of Royal Ascot. I'll be in the presenter's chair on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, Adam Mills, Andy, George will be back. George, you're at Ascot, aren't you? You're not here tomorrow.
I'm at Ascot on Thursday, if people are listening to this on Thursday or Wednesday night or whenever. But yeah, I'll be around.
Okay.
Feel free to say hello.
Well, we will talk to you on the review show then. next week. There'll be lots of different storylines and threads to pick apart, and Adam will have all of the data from TPD to help us along and give us the insight, including explaining what the hell happened with Los Angeles. From Adam Mills, Andy Newton, George Gorman, and me, Emmet Kennedy, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It means a lot. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
In horse racing, every furlong matters and every episode counts. So stay ahead of the field by hitting subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. It's free and it gets you one step closer to the winner's enclosure. Subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast and join us on the gravy train.